Here we go. We are back on live here from FETC, and it has been a great morning. Besides hearing the band in the background, the smoothie machine in the background, thank you for Avid Technology for the headphones have been helping out. I think the band's still playing. We've also had a chance to meet some amazing presenters. I don't want to say some. We've met amazing presenters. They've all been great. They've all been different, and I've learned a ton. And we're going to continue that right here with Lindsay, who I think has taken the most flights to get here. So for those people who don't know who you are, tell us your work, the work you're doing now, and your journey into education.
Absolutely. So I'm Lindy. I live in Montana, so I had to take 3 flights to get here yesterday. I only have 2 on the way back, though, so that's lucky. I don't know. There's something about New Orleans. I always have flight issues trying to get to New Orleans. I don't know what it is, but I'm a lifelong educator, spent my career in education in lots of different roles. Started as a middle school, high school teacher, randomly got into PD training, technology integration. I had a one-to-one classroom when I was teaching. My classroom was a computer lab, and at the time, this was way before one-to-one and all of that. My classroom is actually the computer lab for the entire small school that I taught in rural Montana. So I was always like the tech person and the go-to tech person. So that led naturally into a technology integration specialist role. And now I'm a full-time ed tech consultant. I train in schools. I work with teachers. I create resources, free resources for teachers. I kind of do a little bit of everything. I work with ed tech companies a lot as a subject matter expert to make sure that their products actually fit the needs of K-12 education.
Awesome. Well, that's a lot. And if you want to learn more from Lindy, check out her Twitter handle below. There's some great resources on there, some things that she shares. And I think what impresses me the most is the practical work you do and with students and with teachers to help them bring strategies back. So for somebody who is looking to go into the role that you currently have, how do educators go from teaching into a coaching role?
Oh, interesting. Good question. It happened so naturally and randomly by accident. I always tell people, I'm like, I had no intention to leave the traditional K-12 classroom. It just, like I said, it happened natural for me. But if you're someone that's in the classroom, you're looking to move to more of a instructional coach or technology integration or tech coach role, start, honestly, by coming to things like FETC, to conferences, present. Any chance you can get to present at a conference, lead a training, volunteer, go talk to your principal and volunteer to lead trainings for the staff members in your school. And you might be going, oh man, really? Like, really? Should I do that? But no, do it. Like, that's how you get experience. That's how you get your name out there. Especially if you do it within your school, your principals are going to be chatting, right? And when that role comes up, they're going to go, oh, right, Matthew would be great for that role.
And I think one of the things that you talk about, the ease of going into that role, but sometimes somebody might say that's really frightening or overwhelming. How would you suggest somebody start that path?
Honestly, just going back to the idea of doing PD for the fellow teachers in your school. You know them, you know their names. So there's not that I'm going into a school or a conference session with a room full of strangers. You have that comfort zone. You've already built that trust. Honestly, building that trust is 50% of the battle with doing trainings for teachers. So you already have that with the teachers in your school, right? Hopefully, I'm guessing you already have that. So really, like, that's the best place to start. Tell your principal, even if it's a micro PD, I want 15 minutes in our next staff meeting to teach teachers about how to use Flipgrid or, X tool, whatever it is.
Awesome. And so that's, I think, one of the things you're going to be talking about here at FETC, a teacher's guide to EdTech. So first of all, when is the session? And second, for those who are looking to go to it, what are they going to take away?
So I have several sessions that are all related around a teacher's guide to EdTech. This afternoon, I'm at the mobile mega session. It starts at 1:30, goes till 4:30, and I'm going to repeat the same session 3 times. So you can come within that 1:30 to 4:30 period. And I'm talking about how to make your students published authors using Kindle
sweet.
Direct Publishing. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I've created a whole guide, very extensive guide that will tell you step by step with templates, tips, instructions on how you can make this happen. Tomorrow, I'm talking about creating a strategic plan for virtual learning initiatives and making sure that your strategic plan includes some very vital elements to make sure you're successful. Wednesday, I'm talking about 5 strategies to increase virtual learning engagement. And I'm doing, a Minecraft Education Edition session on Wednesday as well. We're talking about Minecraft and esports and how to use Minecraft education with esports. And I also have a Meet the Author session on
Yes, you do.
Wednesday morning. Yeah.
Wow. So you're busy. I was like, oh, you had one session, but you are going strong for a couple days.
Yeah, I've got and actually I got a couple other things going on in there that I'm kind of assisting with, but those are the sessions that I'm leading up through today through Wednesday.
Okay. So the Meet the Author experience, you will be in the Expo Hall Wednesday, January 25th, 10 to 15. So make sure to head down there and meet Lindy and see all the work she's doing and share your book. You have one of the books, right?
Yeah, I do. So my book, A Teacher's Guide to Online Learning, it is massive. It's 320 pages full of information. So if you're a virtual online teacher, hybrid blended is what I meant to say. Any of those models, this book is going to have so much information for you. If you're a face-to-face teacher, it's also going to have a ton of information about kind of creating a foundation for technology integration in your classroom. And the reason is, in order to teach virtually, you have to have that technology foundation, right? You absolutely have to. It's critical. Without it, the whole foundation of the pyramid crumbles, right? The virtual learning pyramid crumbles. But now, with face-to-face learning, you, especially in a post-COVID world of face-to-face learning, you have to have that foundation, right? Like, it's just part of being a teacher in 2023. So I have the whole second part of the book is called Foundations, because it's all about setting this foundational base of all of these different elements so that everything else falls into place, and that's super critical.
So Lindy shared a lot. So here are the sessions that she is doing. So multiple sessions all around that Teacher's Guide to Ed Tech. And then if, like I said, if you're here on Wednesday, 10:15, stop down to the Expo Hall. So one of the things I noticed with all of these is a lot of practical strategies. Where do you go to learn them?
Oh, good question. Twitter is huge. Social media in general. I use a lot of Twitter. I have a lot of Facebook groups I follow. TikTok. Love TikTok for little micro PDs and following different teachers and educators on there. Lots of different blogs that I follow, different people talking to teachers. I'm in schools and I'm in so many different schools. I get a very unique perspective because I go in so many different schools and work with so many different teachers. I pick up little tidbits and I listen to them and I hear, and I'll say, oh, okay, that's a struggle. What can I do to help that specific challenge?
Okay.
And then I'll try to come up with a template, a Google Slides template, for example, or a Jamboard template, or an instruction guide of how to use Flipgrid that will then help that teacher manage that challenge. And the chances are, if one teacher has that challenge, there's lots of teachers having that challenge.
And so speaking of challenges, so for some individuals who are coming here for the first time, there's a vendor hall that's a quarter of a mile. There's hundreds of sessions. How do you ensure that teachers don't get overwhelmed with ed tech?
Good question. I actually have had that exact same question many times from first-time attendees to conferences like FETC. My recommendation is pick 1 or 2 things that you really want to hone in and learn about. So maybe you are a virtual teacher and you want to target virtual learning sessions. Go into the schedule on the app and search for virtual learning and favorite those sessions, right? Or maybe you're really focused on esports. Search esports, right? And follow those sessions. So don't try to do everything. You can't do everything. You'll be exhausted. You'll be overwhelmed. You won't know where to start. So focus on like 1 or 2 learning goals for yourself and really target going to those sessions. You can also search the Expo Hall list for specific types of vendors. So that really helps you hone in that really quarter-mile long exhibit hall.
Right.
Some targeted booths that you want to visit, and you can favorite those booths. That's what I do. And so I favorite the booths I want to make sure to visit. Then I kind of make like a plan of attack of how to go through the exhibit hall and make sure I hit those like 10 booths.
So how do you challenge yourself? you seem to be really in depth in a lot of this work. You're accomplished. You wrote a book, but how do you challenge yourself?
Oh, I love that question. So I'm a perfectionist. I'm a little bit type A, just a little bit. So actually, my New Year's resolution last year. So my New Year's resolution for 2022 was to just do it, like the Nike slogan, literally just do it. Because I would find, and other type A personalities, you can probably relate to this, that I would have this grand idea. And I'm such a perfectionist that I wouldn't start it because I knew that I didn't have the time to make it perfect. So that was my resolution, was just do it. And that is also my recommendation for teachers in integrating technology, integrating new instructional strategies. Just do it. Just start small, try something one at a time. Don't try to do it all, right? Think about that pyramid that I was talking about. Like, start at the base and just build up that pyramid, and you're eventually going to get there. And the other advice I always give teachers is wherever you are is wonderful and great, but don't stay there. Right? So if you're one of those teachers that just hesitant of technology, you just don't know, you don't know where to start, I always say that's wonderful, that's great. Give yourself grace, honor yourself for being there, because that is where you are and that's awesome. But don't stay there. Make yourself a tiny little goal to get to the next step. Once you hit that next step, create your next tiny little goal, right? There's actually research that shows in change management that shows that tiny little changes are what make a difference, right? And you want to celebrate each of those tiny changes. So when they talk to school leaders about school change and change management and making big changes, that's always the recommendation is you set tiny goals and you celebrate each one of those goals. You don't set one huge goal and celebrate only the one huge goal at the end, right?
No, and I think that's super important. And when you talk about littles, I started to think about younger students. And as a former elementary principal, I often heard teachers say, our kids can't do this. So when you talk about ed tech and flip and some of the tools that you shared, what would be your advice to elementary aged, elementary teachers for students that are just starting kindergarten, first grade?
Love that question. My advice is always do not underestimate them. And in fact, use them. You don't, okay, we teachers in 2023, I'm going to get on my soapbox here. You no longer have to be the expert. You're not the expert in the front of the room anymore. Your kids can learn about anything that they want on YouTube, right? So get away from this idea that you're the expert. And the same comes for technology. If you've got a room full of first graders and you're like, I want to try Flipgrid, I want to try Jamboard, just throwing some tools out there that would work well in first grade, right? Whatever tool it is, say to your students, be open and honest with them and say, this is new to me. You know, Mrs. Hockenbary is not very good at technology. I need your help. And in fact, you can even have, you know how usually typically elementary teachers have roles or job roles in the classroom, right? You've got the student who opens the door and the student who changes the calendar every day. Have your tech gurus in your classroom, at least one. You can have more than one if you want, right? And they're those students that you and other students know to go to ask technology questions. So find that kid that's on Minecraft all day long, right? And they're your new tech guru. And so when you come across a challenge or a question you can't answer, I don't know, let's ask so-and-so. Oh, so-and-so doesn't know?
Perfect.
Let's go to YouTube and see if we can find an answer together, right? So really having that mindset, especially when it comes to working with the younger, like K1, 2, 3 age groups, is really important. Don't underestimate them. Just do it.
And I think that's critically important. I can see the passion that you have. I know how excited you are. So for those out there watching, viewing, who might watch back, make sure to follow Lindy, all of her great work. If you're here at FETC, check out her sessions, multiple sessions throughout the week. And if you haven't picked up the book, show the book again. Grab her book, Teacher's Guide to Online Learning. Awesome. So I'm going to get you out on this last question because you talk about all this collaboration. You talk about working with individuals. What does stronger together mean to you?
Okay. I love that. You're asking the best questions. Like every question, I'm like, I love that question. Stronger together means we as educators, and I've seen it happen, I do it, we recreate the wheel over and over and over again. And if there's one thing that if you asked every educator, I feel like in the world right now, if you said, what do you most need? Or what are you most lacking? They would say time. I'm most lacking in time. I need time. Time, right? That was before COVID, and COVID just exacerbated the issue of lack of time for teachers, right? So don't create the wheel, right? That's what Stronger Together means. Let's work together. So that's why I'm constantly putting out free resources, Google Slide templates, Jamboard templates. I recently had a guest author on my blog that wrote how to create escape rooms using Google Forms, which is super, super fun. So use each other, use social media, follow blogs like I said I do, follow teachers on TikTok. And sometimes teachers get overwhelmed by social media if they're not like a social media person. And in that case, I say don't do it all. I was just telling a friend this the other day. She's like, I'm just not into Twitter. I'm like, then don't do Twitter. Pick your
Right.
favorite social media tool, and you'll be able to find whether it's Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube's not really social media, but it's a great learning tool, right?
Similar.
Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, pick it and find educators to follow on there, and you're going to get tons of ideas. Stronger Together.
That is awesome. And Lindy talked about reading blogs. Read her blog. Her blog is below, integratedpd.org/blog. Check out all of her work. She had shared that she has 3 roosters on there, a lot of support for you. So, Lindy, this has been awesome. It has been great to meet you. Selfishly, part of doing this is getting to meet amazing people who I never knew. And 20 minutes ago, I didn't know about you or your work more than just what I looked to get ready for today. And now I can't wait to dig in, continue to learn, and another blog to follow. So I hope you have an awesome event, and I hope we continue to collaborate and support each other in our growth.
Great. It was great meeting you as well. I loved the conversation, and I hope we connect in the future.
Awesome. And for all of you watching and listening, we have a couple more today, and we have a full day tomorrow. Tune in, see all of these amazing presenters, and learn from them each and every day. Have a great day, Lindy.